this stuff. NTSB investigation deadly gas explosion in Lexington, Missouri. Young boy died and 2 others injured due to gas explosion, Lexington, Missouri. Explosion occurred when a subcontractor struck a gas main while working on a fiber optic line. Jesus. Fucking caused the spark. Boom. Preliminary evidence suggests the explosion ignited after a man inside the home lit a cigarette. Whoops. So, leaking gas, lit a cigarette, boom. Liberty Utilities shut off gas service to the town for safety, and authorities advise residents to avoid the area. Level home, April 7, co-tracking damage gas main, installing fiber optic cable. Injuries to living at home, but did not clarify the extent of confirm any fatalities. Explosion caused the fire damage multiple nearby structures, prompting Liberty Utilities shut off the gas tank. Investigation under okay, repairs. They said they didn't report a young boy. This reports a young boy died, and 2 others were injured, but it doesn't report that anybody was. Yeah, they didn't clarify it here. Interesting why Dems don't do that. Netanyahu-Trump meeting reveals unexpected gaps on key issues. Netanyahu describes his meeting with Trump as a very good visit and claimed success on all fronts. Privately, the Israeli delegation believed the meeting was tough. According to an anonymous source, Trump indicated that the U.S. might take military action if Iran does not negotiate. Trump wants the war in Gaza to end. Okay. You can see all the news sites talking. It's all Democrats right now for some reason. World Israel win. This is the only neutral or Republican post, as you can see. Got AP News, Al Jazeera, Coast, Washington Post, Associated Press. Yes, all left-leaning. This is a piece of shit place. They hate America, basically. These people hate America, and these people hate America. What else? What is this? I can't tell what the other ones are. White House marks 6,000 migrants as dead so that they self-deport. Reports. Scaring people. The Trump admin plans to add over 6,300 immigrants' names on Social Security Administration's death master list to pressure them into self-deportation by canceling their Social Security numbers, according to a source who requested anonymity. Assistant Press Secretary Liz Houston stated that these changes would encourage illegal immigrants to self-deport by removing monetary incentives. Yeah, you gotta get rid of the incentives of why these guys are doing it the illegal way when they can just easily do it the legal way. There's no why do it the illegal way? Is it because you only want to come here just to steal shit and then to leave and then to go back to a shittier country? I'm so confused. What is the gain here? What is your end goal? What? Why do this? Why be retarded and be a criminal? Documents indicate that the plan targets migrants whose temporary legal status was revoked under the Trump admin, impacting their access to financial services and benefits. Martin O'Malley, former commissioner of Social Security admin under Biden, described the strategy as inhumane. Fuck you. You're an inhumane piece of shit. And you want to see inhumane? Oh boy. You have no fucking idea. You have no idea that word. If you want to see inhumane, oh, you have seen nothing yet. Oh boy. I mean, we can get the waterboarding, right? The electroshock therapy. I mean, there's a lot of ways we can go inhumane. I can scalp you. Well, I mean, look. You want inhumane? We can go inhumane, you fucking piece of shit. Underscoring a severe impact on migrants. Fuck you. Like, I would, if I could, I'd slaughter a lot of people. I'd fucking slaughter them. Holy shit. Simmons exec and his family identified as victims in deadly Hudson helicopter crash. Oh, there it is. 6 people died in a helicopter crash in Hudson River, confirmed by the Associated Press. We can actually probably find the news on that. I think Asmongold was watching that stuff. Helicopter lost control and hit the water near Hoboken Pier, according to New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch. Witness reported that the chopper appeared to spin uncontrollably before crashing, as mentioned by AP and AFP. President Donald Trump described the crash as terrible and expressed condolences for the victims' families. Agustin Escobar and his wife, Marcia Campruba Montel, along with their 3 children, died in a helicopter crash in New York City during a sightseeing tour. Oh, took one of those helicopter tours, as identified by authorities and reported by the Associated Press. Eyewitnesses described the helicopter breaking apart mid-air. Jesus fuck. That is actually pretty sketchy. And likened to several gunshots in a row, according to witness accounts. Oh yeah, because of... Yeah, so when you have heavy machinery fucking spinning up at a fucking... Right, with the whole, the speed and centripetal force and, you know, you hear fucking clanking and shit. Well, that's metal hitting metal. Yeah, it's gonna be fucking loud. Yeah, if one of those metal pieces hit you, oh, you're fucking gone, dude. Especially at how fast those things are fucking spinning. New York Governor Kathy Hochul expressed condolences, stating 6 innocent souls have lost their lives and we pray for them and their families. Man, this is like some Final Destination shit. You fucking go into that helicopter, just go sightseeing, and then all of a sudden you hear all the fucking machinery just break down. Oh god, oof. Yikes. Oh fuck. God damn. Investigators are looking into the cause of the crash, which might have been a catastrophic mechanical failure, according to aviation lawyer Justin Green. Yeah, to have that shit break in midair, yeah, that's a mechanical failure. Yeah, the person piloting it had no say in that. He's fucking... Well, I mean, I guess you could have said... You could say that they probably should have checked the integrity of, the helicopter and stuff. But yeah, there's gonna be probably a full investigation on this. Most likely. And it was an exec family. It was a high. Who are the Simmons exec? Oops. Oh, it was his family too. Jesus Christ. Oh, he was a big investor. I'm guessing. This guy? Holy shit. The chop blade flew off. I don't know what happened to the tail, but it just straight up dropped. It dropped feet away from Holland Tunnel. Jesus. NYPD. Uh-oh. Well, there goes a fucking tech company. Looks like they're gonna have to fucking reorient some shit now. Fuck. Ah, that's a big blow to the fucking company, eh? Where's Hassan? Where is he gonna call on his friend Luigi? I'm so sorry, god damn it. Ah, shit. Oh my god. I'm an evil person. I know. Damn it. I'm just a terrible fucking human being. I know. Former hostages, ear, ear horn? Sigils speak at Republican National Committee. President Donald Trump hosted former hostages Yara Horn, Aviva Sigil, and Keith Sigil at a National Republican Congressional Committee dinner in Washington on Tuesday night. Former hostages, they were the hostages, shared experience and pleaded with Trump to secure a release of the remaining 59 hostages in Gaza, excluding Elton Horn and Ira's brother. Ira's brother? Yeah. Trump described the situation as horrible, stating that Hamas is a disaster and committed to working hard bring the remaining hostages home. Keith Sigil thanked Trump, stating, "You saved the life of 33 hostages," and expressed appreciation for prioritizing their rescue. Hassan! Hassan!
By the people, of the people, for the people.
Hassan!
But the people are retarded.
The commissioner.
Oh. Anyways. Why are terrorist sympathizers so fucking retarded? FDA announces plan to phase out animal testing requirement for monoclonal antibodies and other drugs. Uh-oh. For immediate release, April 10th, 2025. Today, U.S. Food and Drug Admin is taking groundbreaking steps to advance public health by replacing animal testing and development of monoclonal antibody therapies and other drugs with far more effective human-relevant methods. The new approach is designed to improve drug safety and accelerate the evolution process while reducing animal experiment, lowering risk. And so they're going to, human testing, basically? FDA's animal testing requirement will be reduced, refined, or potentially replaced using a range of approaches, including AI-based computational models of toxicity. Oh, okay. That's why. That's actually pretty smart. Toxicity in cell lines and organoid toxicity testing in a laboratory setting. So-called new approach methodologies or NAMS data. So this is basically machine learning AI stuff. This is basically some of the research I'm doing. Implementation of the regimen will begin immediately for investigational new drug IND applications where inclusion of NAMS data is encouraged and outlined in a roadmap also being released today. To make determinations of efficacy, an agency will also begin use pre-existing real-world safety data from other countries with comparable regulatory standards where the drug has already been studied in humans. So they're basically going to take data from what's already been studied and they're going to shove it in a in a large language model or a machine learning AI thing, and then they're going to be testing a bunch of variations, variables, parameters, whatever you want to fucking say, right? And see what what they can find in and fixing ailments and right making drugs better, stuff like that. For too long, drug manufacturers have performed additional animal testing of drugs that have data in broad human use internationally. This initiative marks a paradigm shift in drug evaluation and holds promise to accelerate cures and meaningful treatments for Americans while reducing animal use. Oh no, AI is so bad. Don't use AI. It's gonna destroy the world. It's gonna hurt art. It's gonna hurt everybody. I'm sorry. Said FDA Commissioner Martin A. Macri, MD, MPH, by leveraging AI-based computational modeling, human organ model-based lab testing, and real-world human data, we can get safer treatments to patients faster and more reliability. Reliably, sorry. While also sorry, I'm fucking retarded sometimes. R&D costs and drug prices. It is a win-win for public health and ethics. Key benefits of replacing animal testing and monoclonal antibody safety evaluation. Advanced computer simulations. Roadmap encourages developers to leverage computer modeling and artificial intelligence to predict drugs' behaviors. For example, software models could simulate how a monoclonal antibody distributes through the human body and reliably predicts side effects based on this distribution, as well as the drug's molecular composition. We believe this will drastically reduce the need for animal trials. That's pretty good. That's pretty smart, too. You don't have to fucking subjugate animals to testing, regardless if it's safe or unsafe. That's pretty good. I mean, let's be real. If anything, it's a good idea to test on animals because you also need to heal animals too. We do have veterinarians for a reason. I mean, there's a reason why we do animal testing too, because we have to take care of animals fucking too. So I mean, if they're going to use this research on animals too, okay, fair enough. But there was a reason for animal testing. I'll just say that. Regardless of people's weird fucking PETA ideology, right? Your ability to reduce the human. The FDA will promote the use of lab-grown human organoids and an organ-on-a-chip system that mimic human organs. Okay. Oh, like basically the heart pacemaker and stuff like that. Yeah, we already do have stuff like that, such as liver, heart, and immune organs to test drug safety. These can reveal toxic effects that could easily go undetected in animals, providing a more direct window into human responses. Regulatory incentives. The agency will work to update its guidelines to allow consideration of data from these new methods. Companies that submit strong safety data from non-animal tests may receive streamlined review as the need for certain animal studies is eliminated, which would be incentivized investment in modernized testing platforms. Faster drug development. The use of these modern techniques should help speed up the drug development process, enabling monoclonal antibody therapies to reach patients more quickly without compromising safety. Global leadership in regulatory science. With this move, the FDA reaffirms its role as a global leader in modern regulatory science, setting new standards for the industry and encouraging the adaptation of innovative human testing methods. In recent years, Congress and the scientific community have pressed for more human-relevant testing methods. Today's announcement is a step by the FDA towards a commitment to modernizing regulatory science as technology advances. Wow. Took you fucking long enough, FDA fuckheads. Working in close partnership with federal agencies such as National Institute of Health, the National Toxicology Program, and the Department of Veterans Affairs, the FDA aims to accelerate the validation and adaptation of these innovative methods through the Interagency Coordinating Committee on the Validation of Alternative Methods. The FDA and the federal partners will host a public workshop later this year to discuss the roadmap and gather stakeholder input on the implementation. Over the coming year, the FDA aims to launch a pilot program allowing select monoclonal antibody developers to use a primary non-animal-based testing strategy under close FDA consultation. Finding from the accompanying pilot study will inform broader policy changes and guidance updates expected to roll out in phases. Okay. Mark McCary noted, far-reaching significance of proposal for patients. It means a more efficient pipeline for novel treatment. It also means an added margin of safety, since human-based test systems may better predict real-world outcomes. For animal welfare, it represents a major step forward, ending the use of laboratory animals in drug testing. Thousands of animals, including dogs and primates, could eventually be spared each year as these new methods take root. I mean, you're not wrong there too, right? But yeah, I mean, they should be still right running research on animal testing, because you still have veterinarians, right? You kind of need you kind of need to make sure animals are healthy too and they don't get sick, right? Peter, shut the fuck up.
We begin tonight with the breaking news, the tragedy here in New York City. A
Oh yeah,
helicopter
here's the
plunging into the
stuff.
Hudson River, killing all 6 people on board, the pilot and a family of 5 on a tour flight visiting from Spain, a mother and father and their 3 children. Again, no one survived this. The chilling scene in the waters of the Hudson. The crash happened in the part of the river between Lower Manhattan and Jersey City in New Jersey. Video showing the helicopter spinning and flipping upside down.
My
you can see it's just the fuselage there.
Oh dear Lord. You can tell where it lost fucking...
fuselage there. The bulk of the helicopter, the rotor blade, appears to come apart from the rest of the aircraft before the crash into the river. Witnesses could see the chopper breaking apart as it was going down.
My,
the rotor
there's the
spinning
blade.
as it falls, splashing into the water following the fuselage as it came down.
My goodness.
The helicopter then floating to the surface upside down, divers racing into the water to search for the pilot and passengers. And again, there were no survivors. Tonight, the investigation...
Yeah, no, the impact would have fucking killed them. Yeah, the impact from going that high up and then, yeah, no.
Here, how could this happen? The rotor blade coming apart. How old...
It's basically like you belly flopping onto the water. When you're high up in the air, there's a reason why you try to... There's a reason why divers try to do that piercing formation, right? It's because they don't want to fucking belly flop and hurt themselves. Because you're hitting a brick wall when you do that shit. So that plane literally just clapped on that water and everyone probably... Yeah, no, that's it.
Was that helicopter, and we have now learned that the chopper was in the sky over Manhattan for about 15 minutes before it came crashing down. Here's our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, leading us off tonight. He's on the scene.
Tonight, 6 people killed after a helicopter with a family of tourists on board broke apart and
It would
plummeted
be
into
the
the
same
Hudson
way
River
you
off
would
New
be
York
hitting
City.
concrete,
It happened
too.
just after 3:15 this
You're hitting a
afternoon.
brick wall.
You do have an
Fucking
aircraft down
gone.
Holland Tunnel. Please keep your eyes open for anybody in the water.
The tourist chopper going down in the
Yeah,
Hudson between Lower Manhattan and Jersey City. This video showing the chopper splashing down, the rotor blades still spinning in the air before it lands in the water. Fire rescue boats and the Coast Guard racing to the spot where it went down. The chopper fuselage upside down. The rough, choppy water just 49 degrees. Law enforcement officials tell ABC News the helicopter was carrying a family, 2 adults and 3 children, tourists from Spain, in addition to 1
Yeah,
pilot.
Jesus Christ.
Helicopter. It was just coming down in that 45 angle, and it went straight into the water. It was a big splash.
Witnesses watching in horror.
It sounded like a sonic boom on my right. So I look
Oh,
up
yeah.
and literally I just see a helicopter splitting in two with the rotor flying off in the sky. It was
Yeah, it's a
going
big,
so fast,
heavy
it just went
object,
straight into the
basically
water,
hitting
like
a brick
nothing
wall.
Came up afterwards. It must have just sunk.
And I heard a loud snap or like a kind of sound barrier breaking sound, and I could see a helicopter falling on its side and splashing the water right next to that
that's
red
it.
barge over there. And then the rotor
That's all she wrote.
on the top fell off as well and then hit the water.
If your rotor system disintegrates, goes away, stops, blows up, or loses a blade, your whole ability to fly is 100%
Gone.
compromised at that point.
Yeah,
and
you're done.
simply going to go down.
Yeah, as
It's
soon as
very
one of those
seldom
blades
we
are
have a
gone, you're
helicopter
fucked.
crash that resulted from a disintegration of the lift system. That's what this begins to sound like, and it's very rare.
FAA records show the helicopter is 21 years old. Flight radar 24 showing the chopper was in the air over Manhattan for about 15 minutes before it broke apart. It was the helicopter's 6th flight of the day.
So let's bring in Aaron Katersky. He's on the scene for us tonight. And Aaron, you reported on the family of 5 on board. These were tourists visiting the U.S. on a flight over the city. The pilot. Do authorities think they had any chance here as rescuers dove into the water late today trying to save them?
And those divers told us, David, they did everything they could, but eyewitnesses said the helicopter came down very fast. The Hudson River is frigid. Rescue boats sped toward the wreckage site, but by the time they got there, they saw the helicopter had come down upside down, David.
Just a horrible toll there today. And you also reported that that tour helicopter was actually flying over Manhattan, over New York City for about 15 minutes before this crash. Obviously, the crash in itself is awful, but authorities also know this could have happened, right over the city.
Yeah, it could have happened right over the city.
Yeah, David, these helicopter tourist flights are quite common. This particular...
Yeah, this is weird because these tourist flights are pretty common. So why, for whatever reason, they didn't check the integrity of the helicopter, I guess.
L206 was on its 6th...
I guess, 15 minutes into the flight and it fucking breaks apart. Yeah, that's like...
run of the day. A similar tourist helicopter actually
That's
crashed
real
into the
bad.
Hudson River in 2018, and ever since there's been a debate about how many of these flights there are over such a busy corridor in the city, David.
Our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky,
Yeah, I
on the scene of
know.
this deadly...
I think in California, there's also some places where you can do like a helicopter tour ride as well. Can't remember. Because I remember going on one when I was a kid. It was a long fucking time ago, though. It was fun. But yeah, seeing that, I don't want to go on one anymore now. I don't think I want to go on one anymore. Oh shit. That's like fucking Final Destination shit. Yikes. Inside factories in China have struggled to survive Trump's tariffs. Oh yeah, the sweatshops. Small factories with tiny profit margins have played a central role in China's international competitiveness. Many could now face. As President Trump ratchet up new
Hi, this is Keith Bradshaw, and I'm the Beijing bureau chief for the New York Times.
Ah.
I was in Guangzhou, the heart of China's export industries.
Oh, interesting.
Not just the day, but the hour, the minute that President Trump's huge tariffs took effect in the United States on
Okay.
imports from China.
Tell us about it.
I wanted to talk to factory managers and
Okay.
workers so as to understand how
Oh, so
these
you actually
new
talked to these
taxes on their shipments from China to the United States would affect their business strategies, their lives, and even their livelihoods. So I went into a few of these small factories in low concrete buildings that line mile after mile of roads in southeastern China. It was almost a little hard to hear as I spoke with the manager of a factory that makes ovens and fryers and other restaurant and eatery equipment. There was a cutting machine that was slicing steel sheets to make the sides of ovens and fryers. In a different part of the room, there was the whoosh whoosh of a roll of masking tape being used to close up cardboard boxes with ovens and other equipment for shipment to buyers all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
One after another, factory managers told me that some of the small businesses on their streets had already lost sales. The retailers in the
Why?
United States didn't want to take a chance of a shipment showing up and suddenly they'd have to pay a very high tariff on it.
Ah.
One factory manager complained that already the orders were inching down and down. Some businesses that have depended heavily on the American market for years face ruin because they can't possibly compete when there's a tax of 125% on the value of their production. The tariff situation is changing not just day by day, but even hour by hour. Trump has already mostly, but not entirely, rolled back many of his tariffs for most of America's trading partners. For China, the tariffs keep going higher and higher, and this upward spiral has left factory owners and workers in Guangzhou very nervous, much as it has made people nervous across Europe, on Wall Street, and in households all over America. So here's my story. As President Trump ratcheted up new tariffs on goods from China to 125% this week, the mood in the dusty streets and small factories of southeastern China was a mixture of anger, worry, and resolve. Thousands of export-oriented small factories in or near Guangzhou, the commercial hub of southeastern China, have played a central role in the country's rapid economic development over the past half-century. Quick to supply almost any manufactured product at a low cost, they employ millions of migrant workers from all over China. Now many of these small factories, cornerstones of the Chinese economy, are confronting difficult times. Clothing factory managers fret about a spate of orders from American customers being canceled at the last minute, saddling them with losses.
It sounds like
factories making
some of the trade
machinery
deals are being
wonder
canceled
whether their low costs
day by day
will help them survive. And workers hope they will still have jobs in the coming weeks and months. A few garment factories that mainly supplied the United States market have already closed temporarily as their owners wait for more clarity on tariffs. Managers of many more factories are now hurrying to find buyers in
since
other
they're
countries
waiting, that means the workers
or chase
don't
down
get paid,
customers in
and then
China.
they can't make money.
But China already faced a huge glut of factory capacity even before Mr. Trump began closing the American market this year to many imports from China. Customers elsewhere have demanded ever deeper discounts. Ruinously low prices for manufacturers have become particularly prevalent in the domestic market in China. Many Chinese consumers are now extremely frugal after losing their life savings in the country's housing market crash. I spoke to Ling Meilan, co-owner of a shirt factory on the second floor of a concrete building in a vast warren of low industrial buildings. The trade war has a huge impact because if you can't export, there will be fewer orders for clothing and there will be nothing to do, she said. Workers hunched over sewing machines on long tables under fluorescent lights
Oh,
behind
the
her.
sweatshops. Uh-oh.
Ms. Ling focuses on the domestic market in
Well, I
China,
mean, he doesn't say they're
but
sweatshops.
some neighboring
I mean, come on,
factories
let's be
that
real.
sell
These guys,
primarily
they're
to the United States
underpaid.
have already
The
temporarily
fucking
suspended
work
operations.
environment doesn't look great.
A factory manager
Probably
down the
locked
street
in there
who
sometimes.
gave only her family name, Yao, said that she mainly supplied Amazon and had already seen a slowing of orders. Quote, "If the U.S. tariffs are too high, we can't do it, and I will definitely switch to other markets," she told me. The recent cancellations of clothing orders have been particularly hard on small factories in Guangzhou. American importers often pay half the cost of garments upfront and the rest later. Last-minute cancellations without compensation by importers who do not want to pay Mr. Trump's tariffs have left some factories stuck with considerable inventories of everything from garments to handbags, factory managers said. The 50% down payments that they have received are not nearly enough to cover their costs.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Manufacturers of machinery may be somewhat better positioned to endure tariffs. China so utterly dominates some categories that it has few rivals in other countries. Elon Li, who owns a small Guangzhou factory that makes low-priced cooking equipment for restaurants and backyard barbecuers, said that he did not worry about the latest American tariffs because all of his competitors were also located in or near Guangzhou. Manufacturers in Japan, South Korea, and Europe make
Influencers
equipment for the same
hijacked
tasks,
stoicism? No,
but they
didn't.
use much more expensive materials.
A lot of
and
influencers are
charge
fucking
up to 10
retarded.
times as much as he does. Factories in Southeast Asia and Africa
But, I
have
mean, I
been
guess that's
unable
his
to
opinion.
compete because only China makes low-cost electrical components, he said, fetching a
Streamers are
waterproof
the
on-off switch
influencers are
from
the
a
biggest
factory bench
grifters
as
known
an
to man.
example. Steel, his biggest cost,
I don't give a fuck
is
who the
much
person
cheaper
is.
in
They'll
China
fucking
than
steal their
elsewhere,
money.
said Mr. Li, who said he changed his English
That's how they
name
live their
from
life.
Dragon to Elon
And they get
after
money
reading
from
a
people.
book in 2020 about Elon Musk.
They're like the bum on
China's
the side of the
property
road that
market
asks for
meltdown
money.
has decimated
Or
construction
the
in
solicitor
China
who goes
and
around.
left a
"Gotta
glut of low-cost
change,
steel.
change,
The retail price of
change."
cooking equipment in the United States is up to
Literally.
8 times the cost of making it in China, Mr. Li said.
Now they
Tariffs
sit
are
there like a
mostly
monkey
calculated
and
based
ask
on
for
the very
money
low
to be
manufacturing
thrown
cost
at them. And they
before
go,
it is
"Ooh,
steeply
ah!"
marked up in the United
Literally.
States. So even
God
a large
damn it.
tariff,
I'm so
Mr.
sorry.
Trump has now added 125% tariffs for Chinese goods in less than 3 months,
Sorry, I only view
may not do much to increase
influencers
the
as
retail
entertainment.
price,
And
since
if they
manufacturing
suffer,
costs
hey,
are such a small
that's great
part
for me.
of the final price tag, Mr. Li said. One expense that has not fallen is labor. Managers at 5 Guangzhou factories all said that they had seen no
They
sign
chose a
in
life of
recent
entertainment,
weeks
and that's
that
what they
workers
wanted.
would accept lower wages. A
And then they cry
decades-long
about,
slide
"Oh,
in
the
China's
people
birth
hate
rate
me."
has left
Maybe if
a
you didn't act
national
like a fucking
shortage of
retard
factory
sometimes, it would
workers,
be fine.
particularly among the young. Decades
I'm
of
sorry,
nearly
people
continuous
get hate for a
economic
lot of
growth in
reasons.
China have left many manufacturers
Let's be
with
real.
an abiding faith that they
People
will
hate
somehow
because of your
overcome
face,
the latest
because of your
difficulties.
speech,
Our country is
because of how
truly
you
becoming
dress.
stronger,
I mean, there's all
Ms.
sorts
Ling
of dumb
said.
fucking petty
Personally,
shit. Let's be
I
real.
am quite satisfied and have great confidence in China.
Politics, the way people live life.
This article was read by me, Keith Bradsher. The audio was produced by Sarah Diamond. Leo contributed research. Thank you for listening.
Okay, well, there you have it. The tariffs suck, don't get me wrong. But I want everyone to burn. Is that so hard to ask for? God damn, I'm sorry. It's only certain people should burn. Because they like being a fucking nuisance and just can't get on with society. They won't be they won't be an effective member to society. Instead, they want to fucking be a cunt. And always drive fucking blockades into your fucking shit. A mouse watched YouTube. Then scientists mapped a tiny piece of its brain. Uh-oh. Scientists say the map of a speck of a mouse's brain could be as transformative as a human genome project. Here's what to know. Scientists created the largest functional map of a brain to date using a piece of a mouse's brain. The map details the wiring that connects neurons, offering insight into the brain function and organization. Researchers believe this work could eventually lead to treatments for brain disorders like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and schizophrenia. That's good. I had one of my grandpas passed away by Alzheimer's. Not fun seeing him go through that shit. Scientists have achieved a feat once believed impossible, constructing the largest functional map of a brain to date, which they believe could eventually lead to a discovery of medications for hard-to-treat brain disorders like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Using a piece of a mouse's brain brain no larger than a grain of sand, scientists from across the 3 institutes created a detailed diagram of the wiring that connects neurons as they send messages through the brain. A project called Machine Intelligence from Cortical Networks, MICR, ONS, offers unprecedented insight into the brain's function and organization that could help unlock the secrets of intelligence. So basically, I mean, if you look at any structures of the brain of any animal, it's pretty more or less the same, right? I mean, sure, it's the smaller size and between the different species and whatnot, but the brain shows you a lot of stuff, even if it's just an animal brain. Because it's operating in the same kind of at the same as a human brain, with all the neurons and shit firing, right? And how animals right move their arms and bodies like humans, right? Blah blah blah. Very connected. Neuroscience comparable to the Human Genome Project and their transformative potential. If you give a mouse YouTube, so I guess they let mouses take in YouTube? If you give a mouse YouTube, and a study scientists looked at a small piece of mouse's brain called the neocortex, which receives and processes visual information. It's the newest part of the brain in terms of evolution and differentiates the brains of mammals from other animals, according to research. A team of researchers at Baylor College of Medicine in Houston started by recording brain activity in a portion of the mouse's visual cortex, roughly the size of a grain of salt, while it watched a series of YouTube clips and movies. Yep. So they're checking the brain waves and Let's see what's happening. Scientists at the Allen Institute Research Center in Seattle then sliced that piece of the mouse's brain into more than 25,000 layers, each a tiny fraction of the width of a human hair, and took high-resolution photos of the slices through microscopes. The material was sent to a team at Princeton University in New Jersey, which used AI to reconstruct the pieces in 3D. Other cells reconstructed in the Microns project. Each reconstructed brain cell is a different random color. Other scientists compared their approach to understanding a car's combustion engine. Just as an engine is composed of pistons, cylinders, and a fuel system, the brain consists of neurons and synapses, the tiny specialized connections at which neurons communicate. Two Harvard researchers wrote in a companion piece in a Nature article. The data set from the research contains 84,000 neurons, 500 million synapses, and neuronal wiring that could extend the length of New York Central Park nearly 1.5 times. Molecular biologists Mariela Petkova and Gregor Shunek wrote. Gregor Shunek. Almost sounds like one of my professors. Oh, it's some fucking young guy. Chutnik. Ariela Petkova. Oh, another young person. Wow. Interesting. So basically, yeah. Yeah, so basically in your brain, right, there's all these fucking wirings and shit at a very, very molecular level, right? That's how complex the brain is. Or, well, that's just how complex the human or world is, right? If you were to break everything down to a molecular level, holy shit, you're good luck. Findings from the studies have led to discoveries of new cell types. It's a whole new world, literally. Characteristics and ways to classify cells, researchers said. The achievement also puts scientists closer to their larger goal of mapping the wiring of the entire brain of a mouse. Inside that tiny speck is an entire architecture like an exquisite forest, correct. Clay Reed, a senior investigator who helped pioneer this area of study, said in a statement, and it has all sorts of rules of connections that we know from various parts of neuroscience. And within the reconstruction itself, we can test the old theories and hope to find new things that no one has ever seen before. Why it matters. Researchers view wiring diagrams as a foundational step that scientists can build on and eventually potentially use to find treatments for brain conditions like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and schizophrenia. They compare the studies to Human Genome Project, which created the first complete map of the DNA of every human cell. The Human Genome Project has led to profound advancements in that's kind of this is kind of the project I'm on. Has led profound advances in drug discoveries, treatment and disease screening, and helped pave the way for revolutionary gene therapies to treat certain diseases, including some cancers. Yeah, the project I'm on or doing is cancer subtype classifications of breast cancer, lung, colon, stuff like that. 5 different cancers, and then given all the all the genes, we're basically using all that data and trying to mapping it to models and trying to accurately predict what kind of cancer patients have based on the data we've been given. With the functional map of the brain, researchers say that now have the ability to understand the brain's form and function, and have opened new pathways to study intelligence. Nuno de Castro, an associate investigator at the Allen Institute, described the data they collected as a kind of Google map at a piece of visual cortex. If you have a broken radio and you have this circuit diagram, you'll be in a better position to fix it. That's true, yeah. Yeah, that's basically what we're doing for the AI or at least my AI project that I'm doing. In the future, we can use this to compare the brain wiring in a healthy mouse to brain wiring in a model of disease. Right, we basically have, right, people who are sick with the cancer, and we have diagrams that from other, right, all the research within the world, right, and then we tried to figure out the better what best or fits their, right, cancer situation. And then we can figure out, okay, since that's the cancer, now we can move on to effectively trying to use AI to treat patients that way, right? Blah, blah, yeah, it's a whole process. Well, for me, I'm doing one part of the process, and then this, right, basically the studies I do will go down to a different part of the process where they, right, do that type of stuff. All right, science is a group effort. Oof. All right, on to the next. Florida teacher to lose job for calling students by preferred name. Oh, jeez. Latest, Florida high school teacher is set to lose her job after allegedly addressing a student by a name other than their legal one. What? According to Brevard Public Schools. Oh, Jesus, here we go. This incident seems to be the first case in which an educator will be let go due to Florida's policy, which mandates written parental consent for using a student's preferred name instead of their legal name. What the fuck? Who the fuck did this? What the fuck? Why make it so fucking convoluted? Confusing. Fox 35 News has learned the teacher is still active in the classroom, but her 10-month contract is set to expire in May. School officials said the teacher's contract will not be renewed for the next school year, pending resolution of the issue with the state. It's so fucking stupid. I don't even want to read the fucking rest of this. This sounds so fucking stupid. This is so fucking dumb. Oh, you didn't use my preferred names. You're getting fired. What? Excuse me? Are you just gonna lie every time you put your name on something? Like, what the fuck are you doing? So fucking annoying. Get out of here. I don't want to read it. You saw the fucking shit. I don't fucking want it. How mafias like Freddy Krueger's and Peaky Blinders terrorize Ecuador through extortion and murder. Yep. Ecuadorians go to the polls on Sunday under the shadow of the surging drug violence and troubling explosion in the number of local gangs and mafias. A flood of cocaine from Colombia and Peru through Ecuadorian ports has drawn a who's who of mafias from Albania, to Italy, to Mexico, to this once safe Andean nation. But it also created a plethora of homegrown groups with striking names and ferocious reputations. Los Freddy Kruegers cause nightmares in the streets. What the fuck? They actually named their fucking name after fucking Freddy Krueger, the boogeyman, right, nightmare killer, horror film dude. Ugly Women's Headquarters run jails, and the Peaky Blinders try to rule the waves of a key coastal zone. What the Ugly Women's Headquarters run jails. So they so there's just a bunch of jailed women. What the fuck? What is going on? Together they are numerous. Other groups terrorize citizens through oh shit. Oh, that was on. I was wondering what that sound was. This is through campaigns of extortion, kidnap, and murder. In January and February, Ecuador recorded more than one death every hour. Wow. Isn't it in America it's like 2 deaths? Or, I mean, I'm sorry. 1 death every like 2 hours in America or something like that? In January, Ecuador recorded more than 1 death every hour, according to figures from the Interior Ministry. The mafias have been gaining space. It is complex to combat them, admits Guayaquil's police commander Pueblo de Villa. The situation has put security at the center of Sunday's presidential runoff between incumbent Daniel Noboa and leftist candidate Luisa Gonzalez. Noboa declared the state of emergency and deployed troops in the streets and violence-riddled prisons, resulting in the slight dip in homicide rates in 2024 from the previous year. Oh, there you go. Wow, stop criminals and you get a dip in homicide. Wow. Who would have known? The president took action last year after gunmen stormed and opened fire in a TV studio, and bandits threatened random executions of civilians and security forces. Oh, I think I actually saw this. Prosecutor investigation. The assault was later shot dead. Oof. They demand 1,500 not to kill us. Or 15,000, sorry. One merchant remembers the day a bomb exploded in a restaurant in Guayaquil, the economic and criminal capital of the country. They said they were from the mafia. They demanded 15,000 not to kill us. The woman who asked not to be named for her safety told it. Many local gangs have teamed up with much larger cartels from Mexico and Colombia. They're working together. Oh my god. Who would have thunk? Oh my god. Criminals working together? Oh no. Ha. Oh yeah. Well, the local gangs have also fractured and proliferated as they look for their own ever bigger piece of the pie. The war is over territory. There aren't known leaders like before. Everyone wants their independence. Oh, that's interesting. Chaos. Ahead of the gang condition of anonymity. The situation is causing serious headaches for Ecuadorian security service, who must now gather intelligence and act against an ever-changing panoply of actors. Yep. Good luck. Security expert Carla Alvarez compares the situation to chaos of 1990s Colombia. Yep. We see an association of small, less rigid groups. This already happened in Colombia in the 1990s after the death of Pablo Escobar. Oh yeah, didn't Hassan, like, fucking want to suck the dick of Pablo Escobar? She said, in Ecuador, hierarchies began to break in 2018 when one of the largest... Why does Hassan always fucking flock towards terrorists? Cartel, like... The dude loves criminals, eh? Oh no, they're just misunderstood. I don't know, man. He seems like a fucking murderer to me. Because now, not only that, he's murdering your own American, your own citizens or your own peers. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, fucking weirdo? I guess he wants to be murdered too with everyone else. The Canoros leader George Luis Zambrano in 2020 left a power vacuum. The impact is now felt even in a relatively safe Quinto, once a haven from drug violence, but increasingly on the front lines. Their restaurant employee Marianella receives threats and extortions via WhatsApp. I blocked them, she said. But there is no ignoring the violence on the street of her Martha Bakaram neighborhood. Police and military regularly appear hunting for weapons and drugs. There were about 2 dead here on the corner, she said, recalling a recent shootout. Carolina Andrade, municipal security secretary, admits that without the security presence of a hard-hit Guayaquil, the capital is seen as a safe space to come and hide. As new alliances and actors emerge, there may be worse to come. Multiple smaller gangs are now trying to join larger organizations to have greater presence, legitimacy, and territorial control, Andrade said. At least 2 high-profile Ecuadorian gang leaders targeted by the U.S. have made headlines this year. Earlier this month, the fugitive leader of Los Chernos, I don't know how they say it, that relied on hitmen, bribes, and military weapons to do business with, indicted in the New York City on charges he imported thousands of pounds of cocaine into the U.S. Jose Adolfo Macias Villamar, whose nickname is Fito, escaped from a prison in Ecuador last year and is not in U.S. custody. In 2024, the U.S. Treasury imposed sanctions on Los Choneros. Earlier this year, a leader of Ecuadorian's biggest crime syndicates, Los Lobos, was arrested at his home in the coastal city of Porto Viejo. Carlos D., widely known as his alias El Chino, was the second in command of Los Lobos and considered a high-value target, armed forces said in a statement. So as you can see, a lot of cartel people are shoving their shit into the U.S. And then they're dominating their local area by fear, killing people, instilling violence, really. As usual. As usual, what gangs do. Yeah. And then our own politicians want that to happen in the United States, which is a little fucking weird. I mean, it's not a little fucking weird. It is weird. It's absolutely fucking weird. Why are you guys allowing criminal activity, you fucking asshats? If you want criminal activity, I don't mind bringing it to your doorstep and slicing your fucking guts out. Bunch of pieces of shit. I don't give a fuck if I get fucking shot up by your goddamn bodyguards either. As long as you're fucking dead in the floor, hey, fine by me, you fucking asshats. You wanna fucking play games like that shit? Fuck you guys. I hope you guys fucking reap what you sow. Burn in hell. Burn in hell. Iran wants to explore interim nuclear deal in talks with U.S. sources say. If a deal isn't reached, Trump could order a U.S. military strike against Iran's nuclear facilities or support an Israeli strike. The sources said the Iranians think reaching a complex and highly technical nuclear deal in 2 months is unrealistic, and they want to get more time on the clock to avoid an escalation. Well, maybe you just don't build nukes. The Iranians seem to believe that a sustainable deal is unlikely to be achieved in the time frame that President Trump has in mind. It might therefore be necessary to consider an interim agreement as a way station toward the final deal, says Ali Vayez, director of the Iran project of the International Crisis Group. Iranian mission to the UN declined to comment. An interim agreement between U.S. and Iran, Iran. Idiots. I'm sorry. I'm fucking. Could include. I'm sorry. I'm being an asshole. Some of Iran's uranium enrichment activity and diluting its 60% enriched uranium stockpile, and allowing UN inspectors more access to Iran's nuclear facilities. Experts told Axios these steps would only slightly increase Iran's timeline for developing a nuclear bomb, but they could help build trust for negotiations on comprehensive deals. An interim agreement could also involve extending the snapback mechanism that was part of the 2015 nuclear deal. The mechanism which triggers UN Security Council sanctions against Iran if it violates the agreement is set to expire in October. France, UK, Germany told Iran they are going to trigger the snapback of sanctions if no new deal is reached by the end of June. Yes, but the interim agreement would likely also include demand from Iran that Trump suspends his maximum pressure campaign on Iran's economy. It is not clear if Trump would be willing to do that. This week, the Trump admin imposed 2 rounds of new sanctions against Iranian companies and individuals connected to a nuclear program in the oil industry. An Iranian proposal of an interim agreement could also further increase suspicion and skepticism in the Trump administration about Iranian leaders' intentions and whether they are trying to buy time without rolling back their nuclear program. Catch up quick. White House envoy Steve Witkoff is going to hold talks with the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi on Sunday in Oman. While the U.S. still says the talks are going to be direct, the Iranians maintain the negotiations will be thorough. Amani mediators. On Wednesday, Trump told reporters of the Oval Office there is little more but not much time for negotiation. When you start talks, you know pretty quickly whether you're going well or not. The conclusion will be, when I feel they're not going well, he said. Trump said the key demand is that Iran never gets nuclear weapons. Yeah, but if it requires military, we're going to have military Israel. Yeah, sorry, I'm just kind of like, it's the same old stuff. Nothing's changed, basically. The same old, same old. Still wants to make sure that Iranians make sure that they don't fucking build a nuke. Make sure they fucking hurt, because apparently they've been giving money to certain organizations in the Middle East, right? So I think Trump's trying to stop them from doing that as well. But yeah. There you have it. Here's the nightclub stuff. AP News did a whole article on it. Earls began as the search ends for victims in a Dominican nightclub collapse that killed 221. Jesus. Fuck. That's insane. Baseball star, others killed. A Maringu icon, a baseball star, and others killed when a cement roof collapsed at a popular nightclub in the Dominican Republic were buried Thursday, as authorities called off the search for bodies with the death toll at 221. Mourners clad in black and white streamed into Santo Domingo's National Theater, where the body of the singer Ruby Perez lay inside a closed coffin. Perez had been performing on the stage at the packed Jet Set Club every earlier Tuesday when dust began falling from ceiling and seconds later the roof caved. Got fucking mangled by she was probably right under it. President Luis Abinader, the First Lady Raquel Arbaj, I'm so sorry, I'm butchering all this, arrived at the theater and stood beside Perez's coffin for several minutes. Some mourners doubled over in tears as recording for Perez's singing the national anthem played. Renowned Dominican musician Juan Luis Guerra was among those gathered to pay his respects. Perez, 69, had turned to music after a car accident left him unable to pursue his dream of becoming a professional baseball player. He was known for his including Volvere, which he sang with Wilfredo Vargas's orchestra, and Buscando Tu Besos as a solo artist. After a 5-hour memorial, mourners released dozens of white balloons outside the theater and spontaneously sang Volvere in unison. One woman put her hand over her heart and patted it as she cried. At the cemetery, Zelinka Perez, one of his daughters, said, "I knew he was loved, but I never imagined this." Oh, there you have it.
Rescue worker Ramon de Leon says the aftermath of Tuesday's collapse of the roof at the Jet Set nightclub in Santo Domingo reminds him of the earthquake in Haiti in 2010, with a number of dead and desperate people asking for help. The director of the Center of Emergency Operations says the death toll is now past 215. Meanwhile, dozens of people are still searching for their loved ones.
Yeah, okay, this is old, but yeah. If you want to keep reading the article, AP News, I'm not going to read it all. Too much. Too much. Apparently some Chinese got caught.